In this video, we're going to have a look at importing the database file that is on Moodle for your assignment into PHP MyAdmin. Now, as I'm going to demonstrate it, because I'm on a Mac, I'm going to run into some problems, and you may not encounter these problems if you're on a Windows machine. So bear that in mind. You can forward through some of these steps, but for those of you on a Mac, you may need to follow these steps in order to set the configures correct to avoid certain error messages. So I've downloaded this file, and you will see that it will be a zip file. Okay, I've put it on my desktop, and I'm going to import that file. So this file is an SQL script which creates our database, and it's the employees.sql script that I'm looking for. So if you've downloaded that file and you've unzipped it, you should find a folder called testdb.master. So I open up the employees.sql file, I execute this, and I will get this error message. This error message is appearing because the SQL file is also trying to connect in some dump files, and we'll see later on that we can do this in MySQL Workbench. It won't spit out this error message, and it'll install everything, including all our records and i.e. our dump files into it, but we have to manually do this. Okay, so if I go back to databases, I can see now it has created this employees database, right? With that, I have all my tables, and if I go inside of each table, I can see there's actually no records there yet, and over here we can see there's no rows. So this is what we want to populate. So if I import, choose file, the first file I'm going to choose is load departments. I open this up, and I will get the green go ahead. Okay, now this only imported a few records, a few rows, so it didn't cause any problems. If I go and import another file, we could import this one, department employee table or the department manager, but the problem with this is that these have essentially foreign keys. So if you try these first, you will get an error message saying it is dependent on a foreign key. So you need to load the table that has the foreign key that it's referencing the foreign key to. So if I load this employees dump, I will now get an error message. Now on a Windows machine, you will not get this error message. So I'm going to have to troubleshoot this part, and if you don't get this error message, you can skip this part. So to troubleshoot this, I need to figure out where my local host or my PHP file is. So my php.ini configuration file on MAMP, and XAMPP has a similar feature, is you need to access php.info. And there's a couple of ways to do this, but one way is to go to your XAMPP or MAMP main page, and there will be an information there on PHP info. Click on that one, and you will then find the path that this configuration file is on. Okay, so it's actually this one here on the bottom, and so I have this file folder already open. So it's in MAMP inside of bin PHP 7.49 and then configuration. So this is the one I'm currently on, and so I need to edit this one. So I'm going to open this with Visual Studio Code, and there's a couple of things that we need to update. So based on this link here, I need to change these settings. So essentially this error is due to the fact that the number of records that are being brought in are too many, and so we need to increase the size that PHP will allow us to work with. So the max file uploads, we're looking for post max, it's this one here, 256 million. Max execution time we're going to set that to 1000. And you'll probably find that was probably the reason why we weren't able to do it. And memory limit, then I'm going to set this to 512. So I think the max execution time was probably the culprit. So I save this, and now I have to reboot my server. So I stop it and start it. I've restarted my server, and I can now go to my PHP MyAdmin. I go to import. I'm going to choose that file, and it's the employees SQL file that I need to execute. Click and go, and you will be confronted with an error message, and this error message, as we mentioned, we can ignore. And over here I need to then execute also these dump files that come along with it. So this here is your schema. This will create your database structure, and these will put in your records. So we need to go through these manually, unfortunately, one by one, and there has to be a particular order with them. So if you get an error message to say that there's foreign keys in this table, you need to have the parent tables first. So this one here is quite a large file. There's a lot of records, and this one here may create some error messages. And so this is the one we just fixed with the Mac. I open this one, and I'm going to execute this. Now this will take some time, so the video will be sped up or cut out. Okay. So as you can see, it is now successfully imported. We go to structure, and I'll be able to see here my employees table is now populated, and I can go to import and now choose some of the other files. So there will be a particular order. Departments will work, but if I go to load department employees, for example, it will probably give me an error message to say that the parent table isn't there, or something to do with foreign keys. This error comes up, and we can see here that cannot add or update a child row, a foreign key constraint fails. So this is to do with the fact that I actually need the department table first. Okay, so the order is important, so you need to just make sure that the parent tables are installed first. So anytime you get that error, so I see all of these here: department emp, latest date, department manager, anything with an underscore in between them, you can assume that these are going to have foreign keys included. So start with departments, employees, salaries, and titles. So just to recap there, it is load the departments, employees, the salaries, and titles. And then so this one, then department emp, department manager would come second. Now as you can, even though I've kind of forward the video and cut bits out, loading this in actually takes some time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you also the using MySQL workbench in the next video, and this will be a little bit quicker.